Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's market update. So what's going on in the local housing market? Not much, I'll tell you. It is really, really, really light activity. There's a lot of buyer demand. There's extremely low inventory. I feel like in the next coming couple of weeks, we will see quite a bit come on the market. I know from the sellers I'm working with, a lot of them that planned on putting their house on the market just after the new year are taking a little bit longer to get the house ready than they initially anticipated. So if you're looking to sell, it really is a great opportunity to get out ahead of your competition. That being said, what I'm seeing from a lot of sellers out there, if you're selling right now, yes, you have a huge advantage. You've got super low inventory, you've got high buyer demand. So do take advantage of that, but please don't be stupid. I'm seeing too many sellers out of the few that are out there overestimating their hand in this market. Whether that be pricing too high. I mean, you're huge gains. You're getting great prices for your house. If you're selling right now, you're selling for a lot more than you would have a few years ago, definitely more than you would have sold for a year ago. But I am seeing too many sellers overinflate their list price, and really that ends up in the long run getting less activity, taking longer to sell, and ultimately selling their home for less than they should have. Same goes with once you're under contract with inspections. I'm seeing sellers refuse to address legitimate issues. I'm talking mold, asbestos, rodent infestations, things like that. Yes, you are in a great advantage in negotiating home inspection issues in this market as a seller. Most buyers are limiting their inspection terms to structural, environmental, and mechanical is typically what I'm seeing. But that being said, if that buyer finds significant, serious structural, environmental, mechanical issues, you will have to address that. But I am seeing sellers say, "Well, I had 10 other offers, so I'm not going to fix any of these things." Well, guess what? You don't know if any of those other offers are still around, but even if they are, there's a good chance. Ultimately, if you did pick those offers, the one you have is likely higher, and the other offers are also probably going to want you to address some of these serious issues. So if you are a seller and you are thinking of putting your house on the market, don't hesitate. Get ahead of your competition. And that being said, don't overplay your hand, though. There's some really great opportunities. I put it on me as your agent and all the other agents out there to make sure that they not only help you get the most out of your asset, but also make sure that you don't play your hand and end up losing all those gains that the market gave you. So that being said, let's get into the stats this week and see what's really going on. This past week, we saw 29 homes come on the market in Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Morris Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. So out of those towns, 29 homes came on the market this week. That's a 12% increase in new listings over last week. We saw the most number of homes come on the market in Basking Ridge, surprisingly, with 7 homes. That's a 33% increase above last week. And then we saw another big increase in Madison. Not the highest number of homes, but a big increase from last week with a 400% increase over last week's. Total number of houses, 21 houses, 8 condos or townhouses. Average list price of these homes, $1,185,000. We saw the highest average list price again this week in Chatham with an average list price of $2,244,000. So total inventory in these towns is currently at 158 homes actively on the market. That is a 7% increase from last week. The towns with the highest total inventory currently, Morristown and Morris Township with 32 homes actively on the market. Those also saw a 7% increase from last week. And Mendham with 24 homes actively on the market, which is steady from last week, as well as Basking Ridge with 23 homes actively on the market. And not surprisingly, with all those homes coming on the market this past week in that town, 35% increase in total inventory in Basking Ridge. Sold homes, we saw 13 homes sell this past week in these towns. That is a 32% decrease from last week. So not surprising, we've been seeing very few homes come on the market. So with that, we're going to see less under contract and less sales. Not many sales. In Morristown and Morris Township, we saw the most with 3 sales, which is not much. We had two towns. That would be Harding and Morris Plains with no sales, no homes sold this past week. And many of those towns just had 1 sale this past week. Average days on market of these sold homes, 39 days on market. Average list to sale ratio, we saw this past week's homes in these towns sold for an average of 4.6% above the list price. The highest above list price we saw was in Bernardsville. We saw homes sell for 19% above list price. And then a second place was Chatham, with homes selling 12% above list price. Many of these towns were at or close to list price. And surprisingly, in Morristown and Morris Township, we saw homes sell for an average of 4.5% below the list price this past week. Under contract homes, this past week we saw 14 homes go under contract. That is the same that we saw last week in these towns. Surprisingly, we're looking at 1, 2, 3 homes under contract in these towns, nothing more than that. And in 1, 2, 3 of these towns, we saw no homes go under contract this past week. So Madison, Bernardsville, and Basking Ridge, we saw no homes go under contract this past week. Average list price of the homes that went under contract was $1,081,000. That's a 4% decrease from last week. And median days on market, we did see a significant increase in days on market for under contract homes. 46 days on market was the average for homes that went under contract, and that's a 59% increase in days on market for under contract homes over last week. So once again, activity is really light, but I'm really anxious to see what we've got going on next week. I know personally, I've got a few things coming up on the market next week, homes that I anticipated putting on the market a week or 2 ago, but we had some delays. So I'm hoping and anticipating that a lot of my colleagues are dealing with the same thing right now. So really thinking that we will see a highly active spring market, and then we are just looking at a slow start. So as we get closer to February and what is typically our unofficial start of spring market, which is Super Bowl weekend, really anxious to see if and how these numbers change. But if you'd like to know the best ways for you to take advantage of this market, whether it be getting ahead of your competition as a seller or as a buyer, getting insight on the homes that are not yet on the market but are coming to market, please do reach out to me. I've got many tricks up my sleeves to help you get the greatest advantage out of the current market conditions. So thanks for checking with me. I'll catch you guys again next week. Have a great weekend.